Welcome everyone to Mom Street USA. My name is Jackie, aka Wishes Mama, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host Kate, aka the Disney Cicerone. And we are excited for our first Mom Street show of 2023. Happy New Year to all of those of you who have been coming on this journey with us, and any new listeners. We're glad you're here, and we're excited for things to come this year.
Yeah, Jackie and I have sat down and chatted about some of the ways we're going to go this year, and we're very excited about some of the things we get to talk about. But tonight we get to talk about something that was actually my suggestion, and Jackie was so kind to go along with it. But I was like, let's do a show about how moms and parents can take care of themselves on their trip while they're taking care of their littles, because I feel like as parents, we don't do enough self-care when we travel with our kids, and often we just kind of make it all about what they need, and then we forget to take care of ourselves. So I was like, how can we do that better in the parks? How can we actually maybe look out for ourselves a little bit and do some good self-care so that we can also enjoy our vacation and not come home feeling completely wrecked, both emotionally, mentally, physically, everything.
All of the above. Yeah. And it's such a perfect topic. I feel like, January is always that time where everyone's like, okay, these are my goals and this is what I want to do, and self-care and exercise and all that. So I feel like this is the perfect time to talk about this because it's very relevant into everything that everyone is feeling in January, I feel like.
Yeah. I feel like after the holidays, we do a lot of not self-care during the holidays. We do a lot of like caring for everything else. And then after January rolls around, you're like, okay, let's get back on the wagon.
What? Yeah. Let's get back to where I've been feeling that especially. So I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. Love it. All right. Should we hop in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So we thought we would organize this in kind of ways that you could do it before your trip, some care before your trip, or to set your trip up well, some things during your trip, and then some things when you come home. So we're going to start before your trip. And there's a couple things that I was just thinking through this, like the couple things that I do or that I try to do. I'm not perfect at this. But one of the things I love to do is I love to write down what would make my trip special for me. And sometimes I just have to sit in a quiet place and do this. And I'm like, it's not always like some big giant reservation or something, something it's as simple as like, I would love to get a photo of our family in front of the castle. I want, like, sometimes I take my little kids on like mini dates when I go. So like my husband will watch the other kids and I just go for like 10 to 15 minutes and we go on like one ride or get one treat together and just have solo time. So, I just think about those kinds of things. Like what would make this something that would be special for me? And I write them down and then I share them with somebody. This is a critical piece. Is to share it with somebody, because otherwise, if nobody else knows, it's really easy for you to just say like, oh, well, it's okay that it didn't happen. It's fine. Right. It's fine. I'm fine, but then it's sad because you didn't get to do the things you really wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. That sharing piece is so important because then someone else knows what the plan is essentially and can help you execute that and hold you accountable for helping to stop and think about yourself, because like you said, we get so caught up in everyone else. We gotta stop and think about ourselves sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think along with that too, one of the things that I had kind of noted and written down was just along with that kind of establishing what we call like some wishes for the trip. With like my husband and I will sit down and do this before we go. It's like, okay, aside from the list of rides we want to do or where we want to eat or that kind of thing, like what are there things that you want to do on this trip that we haven't done before, and so we kind of piggyback that off of what you were talking about as far as like, okay, let's make a plan and figure that out. So if it's like, okay, no, I just really want to get Joffrey's coffee and sit in Tomorrowland, okay, we can make that happen,
Yeah. Doesn't have to be elaborate, just small things.
No. Yeah. Like one of the things that I really wanted to do last trip was I just told my husband, I said, I just want to sit somewhere in Magic Kingdom for a little while and just like enjoy it, preferably on Main Street or in the hub, like, and just sit and enjoy it, because so often our trips, especially because we've been fortunate to go frequently recently, but that's not always the case. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. And I just really want to get it done. So that way I can have that moment to kind of soak it in and savor it. So that way it doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't get away from me and I'm not running around like crazy. So
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And I think it's yeah, it's just that little, those little tiny moments of magic that are really easy to not have. But I love what you said about talking about with your travel partner or your spouse or whoever it is that's maybe with you, with your kids, talking to them and seeing what they need as well. I think is a great thing. So it's not you just taking care of you, but also,
right.
like making sure they get what they need. And everybody's like, my husband always loves to go get coffee in the morning, like real coffee, not the one that's in the room. Like he likes to go
That, yes,
downstairs.
that is like, that has become top of the list for my husband too.
Yeah.
And there have been times where like I didn't realize it, several trips ago, and it got to be like 11 o'clock, and he's like, I just want to get my coffee. And I was like, okay, I didn't know
yeah.
it was that big of a deal to you. Yes, let's go do that. Like we need to sit down. And so then that, from that moment going forward, it was like, okay, let's make sure we know what we need, so that way
Yeah.
we can all have a successful day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know like Elliot and I always talk about the things that make a trip for us, and his is food, which I've told you guys before.
Yes.
Is food is really his thing. It's his love language. It's like what he wants on vacation. If he has good food, and the boy likes to shop, like he's a shopper. Doesn't necessarily like to buy, but just really likes to like window shop,
Browse,
and so he will
yeah.
like shop for a long time and wants to pop in all the stores. And I'm like a rides gal, so I'm like, okay, like, are we done shopping? Like, we have to make a plan so that he can go shopping for a while and I can do rides, and it works out. But anyway, so talking
Yeah,
about expectations is a good
Yes.
is a good way, I think, just in general for communication, and especially if you're traveling with anybody else as well. But always keep in mind that while everybody might have the things they want to do, also make sure you're prioritizing the things you want to do, because it's really easy for you to get lost in the shuffle when you're trying to make everybody happy.
Yep.
Facts.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
So some other things that you could do before your trip to maybe give a little extra level of self-care is I like to do something that makes me feel beautiful before the trip. And it's going to be something small. It doesn't have to be expensive. I usually like to get my hair done. I'm actually getting my hair done tomorrow. I'm really excited. So, 'cause my hair is like way too long. It like needs to be like 3 inches shorter. But so I'm getting my hair done before this trip, and that's something. But I usually just like paint my toes, like my toenails. Like if I can't go get a mani pedi, if I can't afford it, or it's just not in the cards, I usually at least paint my toes, because then I feel like part of me's fancy, if nothing else.
Yeah. No, and my nails are one thing that I always do too. I don't always do my toes depending on the time of year, but it just, sometimes I do. But I always like to do my fingernails, and I always plan it out. I plan it out accordingly. Because so I use what are those strips? Those like Color Street strips, if you guys are familiar with them. They're like the real nail polish, but they're like stickers almost, like they stick. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. And because they help me not like mess with my nails, and I can just like put them on and leave them.
Yeah.
Perfect. So like we just don't have the money, and I don't really care to like go get my nails done. So I would much rather just do that at home.
Yeah.
But I will plan out like, okay, if I wear this nails and then I have a little bit in between, and then I can put the ones on for Disney on this day. So that way they'll last me the whole trip. It's a whole thing. So it's just part of my self-care routine before I leave.
Yeah, it's like I always kind of just do, like, it can be something as simple as like do a deep conditioning treatment in your hair, or like something that or skin treatment, like whatever it is that makes you feel beautiful, because then you're going into the trip, even if you don't have a lot of time to take care of yourself on the trip, because moms don't have a lot of time when you're trying to get all the little people out the door in the morning. At least that you have done something so that you feel a little extra like confident, I would say. It's not about beauty, but more confidence than anything else.
Yeah.
So.
Kathy says I never get my nails done, but I do for Disney trips. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. I'm much more particular about how I want things done for Disney, for sure.
Yes, definitely. So for those of you who are maybe just joining us, we are talking about taking care of yourself on your Disney trip. And so one of the other ways that we do that, or at least I do, is I like to prepare a few. Sometimes I get to this, sometimes I don't. But I like to prepare a few freezer meals to put in the freezer ahead of time. So when I come home, I don't have to cook for a couple days because I'm usually pretty wiped out by the end of that trip. So, or if you just want to prepare to just eat out, like order food in or, whatever, or have some frozen pizzas, whatever makes sense for you, whatever's easiest. But usually freezer meals for me is a huge saver for me mentally. So I don't have to think about cooking.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And something kind of alongside of that I like to do is I try my best. Again, like you said, I don't always get to it, but I try my best to like prep my grocery list for what I'm going to need to buy when I get home before we go. Even if it's just a mental like rundown of, okay, like let me jot down a couple things. That way, when I get back, I'm either ready to just like plug it in my app and do a pickup or a delivery. So that way I don't have to go walking through the store, or, I'm ready whenever I am ready. Usually it's my husband. He does all of our grocery shopping. But whenever he's ready, he can go. But something like that can also, just when you're mentally done and you're feeling those Disney blues and you don't want to mess with reality yet when it comes to food and dinner,
So
that can be something that's super, super helpful for you before you leave. That way, when you're back, you don't even have to think about it. You just know that it's done.
Yeah, I think so often we talked about, ordering groceries on your trip and into your hotel room. Like we've talked all about that in some of our previous episodes, but I never really thought about, it's kind of like when you get so caught up in the moment, you don't think about what comes after. I feel like sometimes we do that to ourselves with Disney. We're like so busy packing and getting ready to go and prepping all the things and making sure everything's great that we don't think about when we come back home. And then when we come back home, we're like, which we'll get to, like more things to do and back home. But I'm like, prepping that ahead of time so that your re-entry back into real life is as easy as possible.
Right.
I think is a really kind thing to do to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting several comments over here. Lem says, "You're such a planner." And Becca says, "I'm so impressed that you do so much before your trip." Yeah, it's, it's just one of those things when Kate and I are very much the same in how we plan for things and how we like to be organized and things in their place. So, if you get to it, great. And if you don't, is it going to be the end of the world? No. You're going to survive. You're going to order pizza, like you said, or, whatever.
There's lots of
it may
ways to be spontaneous with it, for sure.
Right, for sure. Absolutely. Well, and it's also hard because when we drive, which I've talked about in previous episodes, we usually get home very, very late. So the next morning is a definite like sleep and do nothing day, as much as we can hopefully plan it to be that way. So it's definitely planning some sort of food ahead of time, or at least making sure we have enough for breakfast the next day or lunch the next day to get us through. Without having to stop on the way home, because that's just not fun when I've got two sleeping kids in the car,
And then they wake up when you stop. And that's what my kids always did. Like, as soon as you stop, they all wake up and like, ah.
Yep.
So
for sure.
But like we said, these are just ideas. These are not things you have to do. Don't put extra stress on yourself to do these things, because that's like the opposite of what we're going through here. These are ideas to help you with the reentry. But so
alleviate the stress.
Alleviate the stress. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about during the trip. Jackie?
Yeah. So during the trip, one thing that you can do just to kind of take a little bit of time and reflect, either during like a nap time, if you go back to do like a rest or a nap during the day, or at the end of the day, writing down 3 to 5 memories that you want to remember later. So you could write them down in a journal. You could write them down just in the notes of your phone, however you want to document that, just to help you kind of be in the moment and reflect on kind of the fun that you've had for the day.
Yeah, sometimes I do like funny things my kids said, just like silly things, because I always think, oh, I'll remember that later. Like I never do, never,
right.
never. But they can be so meaningful, those just silly little moments when maybe something didn't go quite right, or somebody said something really silly, or just a really poignant moment when you saw maybe your spouse interacting with your kids, or your kids doing something cute. Like I had a moment when my girls were wearing matching like Star Wars outfits, and they were just like giving each other hugs in line and like giggling nonstop. And I'm like, it's just like a simple thing, but to me it was like, I want to remember that moment forever, because that might never happen again.
Right. Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
that way about a lot of our like character experiences, not even just like meet and greets, but just like parades and shows and stuff like that. Um, and I was fortunate that my phone was in my pocket or in our stroller, and my daughter and I were standing watching the Mickey's Friendship Fair Castle show at Magic Kingdom, and my husband pulled out his phone and was recording us because we were just dancing, and she loves Elsa, which like all tiny little girls do.
Yeah.
And Elsa came out and she was just so excited, and she just the best. And so moments like that, although mostly hard to forget, you want to kind of document those and write them down. And in that moment, I was fortunate that my husband had a phone and was able to to help
Yeah.
out with that. But that's not always the case. So it's nice to have a moment to be like, okay, what did we do today?
Yeah, and thinking about what was specifically meaningful to you as well, as a mom, as a parent, like, it might not be things you got photos of. It might just be moments that you remember, but you probably won't remember after the next day or two because it just slips away. So it's
Right.
just it's a good little thing for you to remember, to just keep those precious memories.
Yeah,
So
yeah. April says I never think to document things in the moment. There's always things I wish I'd captured later. So yeah, taking a moment, whenever it may be, even if it's just on the bus back to going back to your room if you don't feel like you have that much time to do it, or right before bed or whatever it may be as you're planning for your day the next day, just taking a few seconds. And it probably won't take you long because you'll still be, if you're like me, I replay the entire day before I go to sleep that night.
yes, right.
So it's easy to kind of just jot down a couple things and add to it as your trip goes on.
Yeah, and it's something special too. I always thought maybe what I'd do is when my kids are older, I might, make a little photo book or something with them and just put some little like memories in it that I remembered or things that they said. Probably won't get to it till like they graduate at this rate, but I thought it would be
Hey, the thought
special
is
for
there.
them.
It'll happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Someday when
Kathy
they'll
says,
appreciate it.
yeah. Kathy says that's helpful if you scrapbook. I forget moments to write down if you do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Allie says she definitely wishes she had more of those during her trip next time. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. You'll get better about it. I feel like there are trips that I'm really, really good about capturing those moments and living in those moments, and there are other trips where I'm just like running around like crazy. So
yeah.
it's always a little bit of both.
Yeah. Well, and it's I'm gonna skip to that one, Jacque, here because I
Yeah,
feel
go
like
ahead.
we there at the same time I feel like we live in this balance as parents of capturing the moment and living in the moment. You just said it. It's like there is that really delicate dance that we have of like we want to maybe have our phones out all the time so we don't miss something that's really amazing that we want to remember forever, especially when we've spent so much money and time planning all of these trips. But I'd really challenge you to make some time where you purposefully put your phone away. I know it's hard at Disney because you've got all kinds of things, mobile ordering, and you've got lightning lanes, and you've got all the things. But find a time when you can really just put your phone away for an X amount of time, maybe even multiple times, to really just be in the moment and be fully present with your kids. Have a conversation, if they're older, or like just ride a ride with them, hear their thoughts. Have like me just whatever it is, make it purposeful that you put your phone away and you don't pick it back up. And your kids, that really does translate a lot to your kids. They see you being fully present with them, and that means so much to them. So it's not easy to do at Disney, but I
Yeah.
think you don't have to document everything to remember it. Like I said, you could write it down later, so
Yeah. Yeah. Or even, right as soon as let's say your time's up and you have to get on to do a mobile order, just write down 4 words really quick and then you can come back to it later.
Yeah.
If you're someone like me who I will instantly forget what I wanted to write down, I need that, okay, I need to notate this really, really fast and then I'm ready to go because
Yeah.
otherwise it will be gone forever.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you know yourself. If you're like, I have to do this in order to take my mind off of it so that I can be present. I think that's
Right.
okay.
Right.
Like don't shoot yourself into be like, oh, I'm on my phone too much or something. It's just really, it's just so easy to be on our phones almost the entire time. I know this is myself because I'm also a creator. I am so tempted to just be like working all the time. And I'm like, I have to put my phone away because I need to be here with my kids.
Yeah, absolutely. That balance of videotaping and getting content and photos and all of that. I mean, Chrissy said that's why she loves PhotoPass. I try to stop at as many as possible, so I'm actually in the pictures
photos,
too.
yes.
Yeah, that's always helpful if you're someone who's purchased that PhotoPass. We try to take advantage of that too. And the nice thing is they will take photos on your phone if you request them to, but it's also nice that you don't have to rely on your phone. And like you said, if your thing is you want pictures of your whole family, that's what they're there for.
Yeah, I love PhotoPass. And I'm sad, though, I have to say, a little side note, I'm sad that Disney World does not have the same as Disneyland because it's just included with Genie Plus in Disneyland. And it's not in Disney World. And I was like, that's so silly. Like, I don't want to pay necessarily like that much money to have it at Disney World. I just want a photo or two. I don't need like 20 of them to make me feel like it's worthwhile. Right. I just need a few. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things that, again, side note, if you're going to pay for it, you want to get your money's worth out of it. And ride photos are a huge plus to that, but also finding those other PhotoPass. My daughter's first trip, when we took her, we happened upon a PhotoPass person that was standing as you're looking at the castle along the left-hand side, and had this just really cool angle to the castle where they were standing. And we were going somewhere, towards like Haunted Mansion, and I saw them. I was like, wait, let's stop because this is going to be cool and we need to do it. And we've got some really, really cute pictures of her with the castle. And it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, no, we're going to make the most of our money in this instance and remember part of this trip that way. So.
Yeah, I always tell my kids if we've passed a PhotoPass photographer and they don't have any line and they're just standing around, we have to stop. Yeah. And they're just like, why? And I was like, because we don't have to wait in line, so it's a compromise. We don't have to wait in line for a photo, but I can also get some pictures. And you will find them. Even the popular ones sometimes just have a lull, and all of a sudden they'll have nobody in their line. So
that happened to us as we were walking down the middle of Main Street during the Halloween party.
That's crazy.
And we literally were just walking down the middle of Main Street, and there was a PhotoPass person that had just finished with the family that they were working with. And I looked at my husband and I was like, we have to stop. Like,
we have to. Like, it's only going to take like an extra 30
seconds. And we got
seconds.
these amazing pictures of our kids that are now like some of my absolute favorite photos of them because they were in their Halloween costumes, and it was just it was so super sweet. And they're my favorite pictures, some of my favorite pictures that I've ever gotten of my kids on Main Street. And so it was like, that works. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and along those lines, like talking about self-care, I know that if photos are really important to you, which I think not all moms, but a lot of moms, photos are important because we want to remember. And so making those PhotoPass photos a priority if you've purchased that package or if you have Genie Plus in Disneyland, making that a priority where you stop so that you are in the photo. I know that not all of us want to be in the photo, just saying, but someday you'll look back and be like, I wish I'd taken that photo, because and your kids want to see you in the photo too. I've noticed that as my kids got older, there's like, how come you're not in any of these pictures, Mom? I'm like, I was taking them. I didn't really want my picture taken. I was taking them, and then they don't have those photo memories of you. So whether or not you like seeing yourself in pictures, recognize that there is so much beauty in you, regardless of how you feel about yourself, and that your family and you need to see it.
And I feel like if there's any place that you're going to be in a photo, why not make it Disney? Like, of all the places that you could choose, why not make it Disney? That's kind of always been my philosophy, because I've also been in that mindset where I'm just like, I don't know if I really want to be in this photo.
I know. Especially when you're hot and sweaty and you're like...
Well, and like I've done Disney a couple of times when I've been pregnant, and I'm like, I do not want to be in photos right now.
You're like, no thanks.
No, thank you. No. But yeah, it's so important. And, and it's fun now because like I can look back with both of my kiddos, because I actually did Disney pregnant with both of my kids because I'm, okay. So it's one of those things where like eventually we'll look back and be like, no, this was technically your first trip to Disney, kid.
Yeah. They're like, I'm not going to remember that one, Mom.
Right.
Just
No,
say-
no. I remember it very well. Very well.
Well, at least now you have the perspective of what it's like to go pregnant. So there's that. You
Right.
know, you can
Exactly.
help others.
And I am happy to share all of that I experienced. Sorry, I'm getting some good comments over here. Yeah, Becca says it's so important to be in photos. Slay says, yes, I barely have any pics with my son up until the last year when I felt more confident. Slay, that's awesome. And your pictures from your last trip with your kiddo were very, very cute.
Yeah.
Allie says, Kate is making me teary over here. I needed that today.
To make people cry.
It's just because we just want to share the love. That's all.
Yeah. And I feel like it's very easy for us to disappear as moms. I think we can feel invisible, and we kind of make ourselves that way sometimes too. Mm-hmm. And sometimes our kids don't even see us, like we don't exist when we talk. So we have to we have to find ways to be present and show up and be in things even when we are feeling that invisibility. I think it's more important than ever to show up in those times.
Yeah, and April's saying, I feel like there's a balance between trying to capture the moment and living in it. I missed things in the past because I was just trying to get the picture.
Yes, 100%. And you end up seeing everything through the lens of your phone, really. I'd say your camera, but you see it through your phone instead of living in the moment, and that's sad too. So it is a balance, because you do want to take pictures and video, and I think that's normal, and you probably should.
And I feel like too, sometimes at Disney, I like the more candid photos and candid moments than the post ones too. So like, you know, sometimes I'll take, I've got a really great photo that I took of my son standing on my husband's lap when he was less than 2 on his first trip, watching the Festival of the Lion King for the first time. Because Lion King has been his favorite movie since he knew what it was. And it still is one of his favorite movies. And so there's nothing else in the picture other than my son's face lit up by the lights from the stage. But every time I look at it, it's like, I know exactly that moment in time.
Oh, that's so great.
So I think the candid stuff too is always super fun. So I try to, and not only that, but also like reminding the people that are with you to also take photos for you and of you can be super helpful while we're talking about photos. You know, asking people like, hey, could you, take a photo of us, or, could you be on the lookout for, sweet moments that maybe I won't be able to capture, but you could capture for me. Passing that duty off to someone else is not the end of the world. You can let go of the reins a little bit.
Yeah. I find grandparents are very good at that. Especially grandmothers. I know that my mother-in-law is like, just takes a million pictures, and sometimes she'll just randomly send some like as memories to me. Yeah. And I was like, oh, look at all these amazing Disney pictures I didn't know existed of our family.
Yeah. Aww. Thank you, Rhonda.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we did that. So our last trip, I feel like I did that a little bit towards my in-laws last trip and took pictures of them with our kids and all that kind of stuff. And then for Christmas, we made them a photo book. And my father-in-law looked through it. He's like, I don't remember any of these pictures.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
Yes, having that, having that moment for sure.
And if you have, my kids are old enough that I got them their own little cameras, and they take them. They have so much fun taking pictures at Disney, and then seeing what Disney looks like from their perspective is fascinating, because the things that they choose to take pictures of are not what I choose to take pictures of.
Yeah, yeah.
So you really get a little insight into their mind and how they're seeing the Disney parks, how they're seeing your trip and your family by what they take pictures of.
So fun.
And my older kids too, I ask them to use my phone and take pictures of like me and my husband. I'm like, will you take our picture? And so then they get to be the photographer, which they love. And we get some pictures actually of us as a couple, which is always nice too. So.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the moment. My oldest is like almost there where he could probably take a pretty decent photo. So that'll be fun as mine get older and we go, where they can take pictures of each other and pictures of us and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's even funny when they take pictures that are like not great. They're like, this way, and like half of you are in the picture. They're funny because you remember that. So
yeah, exactly. I love it.
Cassie says, I always ask people taking pics if they want me to take their pic so everyone is in it. I think that's, yeah, the ones that are
Yeah.
doing the selfie and trying to get like
Yeah.
their entire party in there, like that's always a kind thing to do.
Yeah.
I
I
agree,
love
Cassie.
doing
It's a
that
great
for
thing.
people. We did that. If we were in Epcot and we were in the Italy pavilion, and if you go out towards the water, there's that like bridge that is a really great photo spot, and there was a couple there, and had just finished taking photos there ourselves, and we were walking away, and they were walking up, and we kind of locked eyes, and I was like, do you want me to take your picture for you? They were like, we were going to ask, thank you so much.
Yeah. And it feels like the biggest thing you could do for them. Like everybody feels
Yeah.
like, wow, it was so amazing that they took a picture. Like and most of us are like, it's no big deal. Like we
Yeah.
feel like happy to do it for another
Right.
family to,
Yeah.
you're not going to stand there all day, but you can take a picture of a family,
Right.
and before you
Yeah.
go away. And I love that kind of camaraderie of like families on vacation and how we all kind of just will take pictures of each other.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Shelly wrote, LOL, I have T-Rex arms, so I'm always grateful when someone offers. Yes,
I love that.
it's always a kindness that you can do. And hopefully, you put that kindness out into the world, it'll come back to you. So
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So yeah, photos. Photos are who knew photos would be self-care, but yes,
Right.
because it's so important as moms. And then I also love during a trip, one of the things I love to do is if I'm traveling with others and not just like solo momming it with a kid, I usually try to find times where it's like 10 to 30 minutes where I could just kind of be by myself. It can be before people wake up or after they go to sleep if it's too stressful to get away while the kids are up, or maybe during nap time. Just get away for a little bit just for your own breather. And I love to, you can go on a ride, you could get coffee, you could go for a walk, you could just sit somewhere like Jacque talked about, sitting on Main Street. And I love practicing being fully present. And one of those ways I do is kind of sit there and kind of take in like the five senses if you're not used to being like this kind of more mindfulness practice. But what you can do is think about the five senses. What do I see? What do I smell? What do I hear? What do I touch? What do I, so all of the things and you just kind of run through those slowly and it fully immerses you in the moment. So you're not thinking about, I got to get back to my kid. I got to book this next lightning lane. I got to do this. It just puts you in that moment just for the time being so that you can fully focus and be present and just be. And there's so much peace in
almost
that.
got like chills thinking about like sitting on Main Street.
Yeah. We don't do it enough.
Yeah.
We need to do it more often.
True. Yeah, that's been
We're
one
always-
of the big things with my husband and I these last couple of trips. It's like we're slowing down. Like we've got to just slow
Breathe.
down,
Yes.
breathe. If we don't have a plan in the immediate, okay, let's go sit and enjoy the sights for a little while, or let's go sit where the kids can play in the hub grass and we can take a breather and figure out our next plan. Or things don't go as planned, okay, we can be flexible, let's take some breaths. Let's figure it out. So I think that just being aware of that time, let time pass a little slower when you're walking around.
Yeah, I think there's this expectation we put on ourselves to do it all.
Yeah.
And I think that we can't do it all, or should we do it all? I think that we could do the things that we'd love to do. We've talked about this before, about how you need to make priorities of what is one thing that everybody really wants to do and do that. But I know I get this like anxious feeling as a mom, where it's just like, well, they might not be able to experience this again, so this is the only time we have. We put this like pressure on ourselves. My husband always reminds me, he's like, they don't have to do it all to have an amazing time. Like they can just do a couple of things they love and then go swim in the pool all afternoon and they'll
Yes.
have a great trip.
Right. Yeah.
Like they don't know what they're missing. They're not going to be sad about it, And
Yeah.
I'm like, but what if they do later? What if they hear about it and they're sad? And he's like, no, you just need to stop.
Yeah, and we've really started approaching it that way with our kids. Like, okay, when we talk about prioritizing, let's make our list, and then let's make our secondary list, but just remember that we may not get to all of these things,
Yeah.
and we're still going to have a really fun day regardless.
Yeah.
And my kids are the same way. The pool, they would be in heaven.
Cool. Yeah. That's all we did on Disney vacation is maybe went to one park one day and then swam the pool the rest of the time. They'd probably be fine. They're like, I'm good, Mom. Okay.
I'm good.
Great.
Good to go. Yeah. Yeah. You ask your kid, what was your favorite part of our trip? Oh, the pool.
The pool.
Of course. Always
the pool.
Yes.
Oh, which
Always.
is so funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we did talk about that. We were talking about, doing your to-do list, but, allowing for spontaneity, I think, is something that is also something you can do during your trip for self-care, especially for those of us who are maybe more planners. Not talking to myself and Jacque at all. I know some of you don't have to be talked into spontaneity and you have to be talked into planning. So there's all kinds of people out there and I understand that. And I think that being spontaneous, I've learned that being spontaneous can be a good thing. It's taken me a long time to learn it. But honestly, some of my very favorite Disney memories have happened when I just kind of let go of my plans and let something happen that just somebody wanted to do or we just stopped and experienced a character interaction or something like that. So, we always have this pressure to accomplish our to-do list like we talked, but but many memories are made when you don't do what you've planned and you just kind of go off script and do whatever. So leave room for that.
Yeah. And also within that, being kind to yourself with those plans. Understand that planning is fantastic. And if that's, like you said, if that's you and that's what you like to do, that's great. But also understand that things are not always, I would say, probably 10 times out of 10, things are not going to go the way that you planned exactly to a T.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
We have great plans.
Now, you may get fortunate enough and you may have the knowledge and the know-how enough to make your plans, come to life exactly how you envision them. But I think understanding that we plan our trips so much that we feel like we have to do everything exactly what's on our list.
Yeah.
But so many memories are made when we don't do what's on there. Like you were saying, maybe there's a character meet and greet that you stumble upon, or a line is super short and you're like, well, let's go,
Yeah.
So having the ability to also pivot and make the best of whatever the situation may be, so that way everyone still continues to have a good time.
Yeah. I remember one of the times with my kids, I took my kids on solo trips to Disneyland, each one of them it was supposed to be when they were all around age 8, but it ended up being different times because of what happened in the world. But I took my kids on solo trips, and those were so great trips because we kind of just did what they wanted. And some of that was being spontaneous, which drove me up a wall, but it was great for them. And then we did things like we'd get off of a ride and they're like, I want to go on that again. And so I was just like, they're like, can we go on that again? I was like, yep. Let's do it, and some rides we went on like 2 or 3 times in a row, and they were so happy, and they remember that as like, remember that time Mom let us go on the ride again and again and again. And it's such a silly small thing to us because we're just like, why would we want to do that like 3 times? But to kids, remember how many times we watched The Lion King growing up in a row? That it makes such a huge difference to them. And somehow I think there's some kind of magic in that where all of a sudden you've kind of just let Disney happen to you rather than you happening to Disney, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just letting the magic kind of flow and happen and be what it is. Now, I can't do that for my entire trip because I would go crazy. But I've found joy in that as I've practiced it. And there is a lot of joy in just being and letting and doing whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Robbie says, let it go.
Let it go. Yes.
And April says a Disney yes day. That
Disney
like
Yes Day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like that. My kids love that movie. I don't know if you've seen that, the Yes
Yeah.
Day movie. Oh my gosh, they ask me for it all the time. They're like, "Can we have a Yes Day?" And I'm like, "No, it's a no day." No, we try.
Yes with parameters.
Parameters, yes, good boundaries, healthy boundaries to your Yes Day. They're like, "That's not a Yes Day." I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry. Like,
Sorry.
it is what it is."
Yeah. How about a choice? You have 2 choices. You get to pick which one. That's the extent of your yes day. I will say yes to whichever of these two choices you pick.
Oh gosh. Yeah, but no, yes, I mean that's when I took my kids on their little solo trips. That was
Yeah.
really like the idea. And you know, I didn't do a lot of things I would like to do on that trip because like my kids were terrified of certain rides or something, you know, but it didn't bother me because I was like I got to just see it like how would they do Disney? Kind of like the Carpe Diem days for Pocket Fam. Like if they had a choice, what would they eat? What would they do? What would they choose to not do? And it was really interesting insight into their little psyches, you know,
Yeah.
learning more about my kids. So
Yeah. Well,
really
that can be
fun.
such a fun experience and such a almost therapeutic experience that you can
Yeah.
have with your kiddo. Just letting them take the reins and letting them choose. And we so often we think we know what they want, and we've talked about this before with our kids
Oh,
too.
yes.
We think we know what our kids want to do and what rides they want to do. And then I feel like I ask my kids, like, okay, do you want to ride this ride? And they're like, no. And I was like, what do you mean you don't want to ride Remy? Come on.
I know. Oh gosh, right?
And but then
Like
like we got to like Tower of Terror, and I was like, do you guys want to try it? And they were like, yeah. It's like,
like who are you?
okay.
Do I know you at all?
Right. Who are you, children? I don't know who you are, but okay. Fine. You asked for it. You're old enough to understand that decisions have consequences.
That's funny.
But no, I think it can be super fun, and it can be, that's definitely one of those moments that Kate was talking about earlier, where you can, put the phone in the pocket or in the bag and just enjoy that time, whether it's one on one or your whole family doing those kinds of things together. It can be really, really special for sure.
Yeah, and I really liked what you said, Jackie, about trying something new. I think that is, especially if your family regularly goes to Disney and you're not like, you've always kind of done the same thing because that's what everybody knows and loves and wants to do every time they go. I always recommend doing something new every time you go to Disney because there's something very freeing about kind of getting out of that box you've put yourself into. Is like, this is
Yeah.
how we do Disney. And then suddenly you get to explore in and experience the park in a new way, and your kids get to try something new. And I think it's a little bit of kind of like this, you overcome this mental roadblock that you have put in place for yourself as like, this is how I have to do Disney.
Yeah.
Because you can do
Right.
it so many ways, and you
Yeah.
can experience new things.
Yeah, we were fortunate this last trip. We had a lot of those new experiences with our kids, and it was so much fun just watching them experience Tower of Terror for the first time. And then we all got to experience Cosmic Rewind for the first time all together. Like, just those moments like that. That's just like, that was so much fun. And it's that like, when you go on those rides that you've been on 10, 20, 30 times, you know what to expect. But going on something new or doing a new show or a new experience, you get that rush again, almost, of
Yeah.
being like a kid. So I think that was what was so fun during some of those experiences for us on our last trip, was just the newness of it all for all of us. It was like, that was so cool. We got to do that all together.
Oh yeah, you get to be surprised, because Disney always kind of tucks little magical surprises into things. But if you've been on it a million times, you know what the surprises are, and you're not surprised.
Right.
But you
Right.
still enjoy them, but they're not
Yes.
surprises.
Yes,
So
exactly.
you get to see them with fresh eyes.
Right. Yes, I think that's super, super fun. So allowing your planning to stray off the path can be worth it for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
So another thing while you're at Disney, that you can kind of prep ahead of time, but plan for doing it while you're there, is bringing items from home maybe that help you relax after a long day in the park. So face masks, your favorite lotion that you like to use, making sure that makes it in your bag. Bubble bath if you're someone who likes to do, baths, body scrubs, any of that type of stuff that helps you just relax and get off, any stresses of the day, and just kind of take some time to do that for yourself, even though the week is crazy and busy and you're not going to feel like you maybe want to because you're exhausted. Still taking just a few extra minutes, I feel like can make a huge difference on how you feel waking up the next morning.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sometimes you can even get like those little like bath bombs, but you put in the shower, like the
Yeah.
shower ones. so that even if you don't have time to take a full bath, you still get kind of that like aromatherapy in your shower. Game changer for, after a long park day.
Yeah.
You can have your shower. I'm actually going to go get some for my trip now. Like, oh gosh, I'm going to go get some of
those. Like a great idea.
Oh my gosh, sounds great. I'm not even going with my kids, but I'm going to get one anyway.
Because you deserve it.
I know.
Because you
I still take care of
deserve it.
myself. I'm still a mom, just not with
Yes.
my kids in the parks.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? I feel like that's an even better excuse for you to practice self-care on your trip, because you'll have a little bit of extra time. I know you'll be writing and content creating and working and all that, but you have a little bit more extra time than if you were with your kids.
I do. I get lots of extra time, and so I'm very happy about that. But yeah, so those are a lot of things that you can do during your trip. There's of course many more. Sometimes I'll bring along a special chocolate treat that I like, a special bag of chocolates or something that is something I only get when I travel to Disney that are just tradition. There's all kinds of ways that I just encourage you to think about yourself and what your needs are, because I think it's so easy to make sure that our kids' needs are met, our spouse or significant others' needs are met, but we don't remember to take care of ourselves. So even if it's like a special kind of coffee that you want to take with you to have in the mornings, whatever it is for you.
Or even something that you just get when you're at Disney. Like, even if it's not something you bring with you, but something that you always buy, your traditional, whatever it may be. Kate's got her ice cream that she always buys when she's there.
like cinnamon pecan ice cream for Epcot. Yes.
My husband is always Joffrey's coffee, because where else do you get Joffrey's coffee? So that's always one thing that I know he wants to get. So just, getting those little things. I enjoy getting gelato in the Italy pavilion at Epcot. That's one that I try to get almost every trip. So those little things can help too.
Yeah, for sure. Cassie says, celebrate that book, girl. Treat yourself. Thank you. I'm going to do that. Treat yourself.
Yeah,
I'm going to treat
exactly.
myself. It would be great.
Yeah, I love it.
So shall we move on to when you come back from your trip, which is the saddest time. Saddest. I almost don't want to talk about it. We should have done this in reverse.
Right? That would have been a much better plan. Why didn't we do that?
I know. But the reality is, when you come back, I feel like what we always call the Disney blues hits. I know for some of us it hits harder than others depending on when your next trip is. It can be really tough coming re-entry back into regular life from the Disney bubble. Is really tough. And then of course you're also a mom and you've got suitcases and laundry and all those kinds of things. So I know for me, you kind of just have to know yourself. If you're someone who's like, I can't rest and relax until all the suitcases are unpacked and all the clothes are put away and all the things are done, do that. Make that a priority. If you're somebody who's like, I need a day or two to just relax and unwind before I approach all of the suitcases and all the things, then do that. You just, give yourself permission to do what it is that you need to do, because honestly, it's not going to be a big deal if those suitcases sit around for a day or two or a week, whatever. So it's going to be okay. I think we put that pressure on ourselves, like, oh, we haven't unpacked yet. I haven't unpacked yet.
Yeah.
Who says you have to unpack within a day or two?
Right.
Unpack
no
when
rules.
It feels right for you. No,
there's no rules about unpacking.
It's not. We make them though in our minds. We're like, I'm a failure as a mom if I don't get everything unpacked within X amount of time. It's just silly. It's silly.
Yeah. When I think going along with that, I am a huge advocate of doing laundry on your vacation. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, and some people will be like, I would never, and that's fine. But for me, we almost always have a rest day, a resort day, a pool day, somewhere near the middle of our trip when we go for about a week. So on that day, I will pull as much laundry. I'll just make a load, and I'll take it down and do laundry at the resort while my kids are in the pool or whatever it may be, because I'm not a huge swimmer. So I'll sit and watch them swim and keep the timer on my phone and go switch the load and come back and watch them swim more. But it helps me so much with the mental aspect of unpacking, because I am someone who gets stuck in the suitcases are in the house and they're there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks sometimes, because just mentally I
It's
can't handle it.
overwhelming. I know.
Yeah,
It's
I
not as
just
fun
can't.
as packing.
Oh, and I also despise packing, so it's just the whole
I
all of
like
it.
packing. Don't like
Anything
unpacking.
related to suitcases, it's honestly it's a massive struggle for me. So I have found that doing that load of laundry makes my life so much easier because I know that my kids are going to have clean clothes regardless of what's already at home because when you're at Disney, nothing at home exists. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, so
it's
I
true.
know, okay, they've got clean clothes. We're good to go. So I just, it helps me so much be able to tackle that unpacking when I get home so that it doesn't sit for that long.
That's good. That's smart.
So I think if you're someone that's a struggle, that's my suggestion. And it'll only cost you like $6 to do laundry at your resort, which is like nothing.
And if
So
you have
we,
older kids, make them do their own laundry because they can. Because
yeah.
my kids do. I help my 7-year-old a little bit with hers, with folding mostly, but they
Yeah.
can and do their own laundry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't get stuck in this like my
I
10
have
year
to
old,
do
my
all of it.
12-year-old I still have to do all their laundry. You don't.
Yeah.
They can do their own laundry. I
Tell
will
them,
say
Kate.
they can.
My kids love helping me with laundry, and
Yeah.
they're 4 and 6. They'll pull the basket all the way down from the top floor to our basement, and they want to help me dump it in. And
Yeah.
I help them do what they're capable of doing at this age, but they love it. So
Yeah, my kids love that our washer has a clear top to it so they can see what happens to it.
yeah,
So they like
so cool.
just see them staring at the washer sometimes. Like low budget entertainment. I'm like, okay, great. Like, yep. It's
I love that.
educational. Homeschooling at its finest.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
But
Becca says my cousin does that too, so she doesn't have to wash when she gets home. Yep. That's
yeah.
exactly it. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
I mean that's smart. And I do it when I don't do laundry on vacation unless it's a desperate situation, like
Yeah.
somebody's gotten sick or something. Then we'll do
Right.
it. But or we're traveling for a really long time, then I might need to do a load anyway. But what I do is I put them. We have garbage bags that they put their laundry into as they dirty them throughout the trip, and then I just put those in the suitcases, as long as there's enough space. And then all I have to do is just dump it into the washer when I get home, which is so handy. So that I don't have to approach sorting out what was still clean, what was dirty amongst
Yeah.
all the clutter and toys and stuff that's in the suitcases. Because I'm like, if all I have to do is pull it out and dump it, or they pull it out and dump it, then it makes it so much easier for everybody. So we always
Yeah.
do that as well.
Yeah, we do because we drive. We have a little bit more flexibility, so we do pop-up hampers, and
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
take them into the rooms with us, and then
course you
we
do.
just listen. You already know that I take my entire house with me when I go. Okay.
You're like, I put it next to the toaster and the deep fryer.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, we have a pop-up hamper. So but that also helps when we do our laundry because it's already all in one hamper. And so once that's full, it's like okay, we just take that whole hamper down. So depending on it's mostly my kids' clothes that we'll put in there. Occasionally, my husband and I, depending on if it's something that like we really want to re-wear, or like I'm the type of person that I don't like if I get new merch, I have to wash it before I wear it. So I'll like if I get something new early on in the trip that I really want to wear, then I'll throw it in that load too. But the hamper I feel like helps. So having a separate place to put that I feel like is a huge help.
Yeah. Oh gosh, laundry woes. But yeah, the point being, whatever it is you need to do to take care of yourself, and also asking for help, asking for your kids, asking for your spouse. You don't have to be the only one to do laundry. There's other capable people, most likely in your home, that can help with all the unpacking. So ask for help if
So
you need
true.
it.
So true.
Something I also do with coming home and trying to combat the Disney blues is I like to do things like Disney essential oils or wax melts or candles. Just I have my own little kit of like ones. I think we like Pandora is like a favorite scent in our house. The Flying Over Orange Groves one we have is also really good. It's a Soarin' one. And then like a bakery one, and then contemporary. The contemporary resort's one of my favorite scents. So we just kind of like have those out. I'm trying to remember. I think I want to say it's the Magic Candle Company that makes those. There's
That's a
also,
popular one that a lot of people use, I feel like.
yeah, there's another one that's like the official Disney one, and I just can't remember the name of it. I'll put it in the Discord when I find it. But so those are, I like to do those, and then also have like a music playlist. We've also talked about at home, making magic at home, where you can find the actual Disney resort TV screen that you can put on your TV. You just need
Yeah.
a little bit more time to transition.
Yeah, I've
I
been
like those.
doing, so I started doing those like Main Street, like ambiance ones during Christmas time, and now I've like continued doing them during non-Christmas times. So that is also a really great one to do.
Just
Because
survival here.
yeah. Or like watching those, I love those sunrise videos over the parks that
Oh
are on
yeah.
Disney Plus. Like, yeah, all of that type of, and whatever you need to do, listen to music. We listen to Disney music constantly, so that's kind of the norm for us anyway.
Yeah. I'm getting a question from Jennifer. She says, "When's my next trip to Disneyland?" TBD. I'm going to Disney World in like 9 days. So going to Disney World,
Yay.
and then I thought I was going to go in February. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when I'll make it back to Disneyland, but should be within the next couple months. So, sorry to take us off topic there
That's
for a
okay.
second.
That's okay. No problem.
So, yep, watching things on the TV, listen to the music playlists, and also I like to then go back and read through like those lists of memories. My husband and I often we have kind of a pastime of like laying in our beds and like looking at the photos from our trip and just kind of remembering all the things. But you can also go back and read the memories and the quotes and the things that you wrote down, just as a like just to savor it. They always say that what like 50% of your trip's enjoyment is like anticipating it, and like the time after remembering it, it's like
I lost you, Kate. I can't hear you. All of a sudden, I can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Oh, now I can. That was weird.
Okay. Yeah, I was getting a call even though I put it.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just like, wait. I was like, wait a minute. What happened? Because like I had my headphones were struggling earlier. So I was like, uh-oh, what did I do?
Nope, it was me. It was I know, it was my mother, my dear mother's calling, and she was one of the people that is allowed to get through on my do not disturb. So that's how that goes. Anyway,
That's okay.
so reliving the memories is, basically one of the ways that you can, I think, practice some self-care, because then you can remember, especially when you're sad, that you're maybe not going anytime soon or for a while or ever again, as the case may be, that you can really just soak in all of that and remember that even if it wasn't perfect, it was beautiful in whatever it was. Even when I think sometimes the things I loved about the trips most is that you remember the things that went wrong and then you like laugh about them later. When like your entire family got sick and you all were in the hotel room and everybody, it's not fun in the moment. Nobody wants that to happen on their vacation, but you look back at that and it was memorable because everybody was in their jammies all day watching whatever. And, it was, so just remembering all of the things that went well and things that didn't, and all of it is just one big memory.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think being ready and preparing and knowing that those Disney blues are going to happen, because it happens to everyone, whether you think it's going to happen to you or not.
Yeah.
The re-entry to the real world is cruel.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those things that you have to do. But I think also, whether you know when you're going to visit or not, again, start thinking about things you'd like to do different or the same, or new things, or start doing more research on something that you didn't do research on before. That's just me, because that's all that I sit and read, all the blogs and all that type of thing. But
watch the live streamers wander around the parks.
yeah,
that's what
but
we do.
Seriously, that's part of the reason why I started watching those live streams. Was just like, oh, they're doing something that I've never done before. I'm going to add that to my list of things that I want to do. So, having that list kind of start to formulate of maybe things you didn't get to that were on your list, you know, maybe a little further down on your list, or new things that come out from the time that you were there until maybe the next time that you're going to go. Like the train just hopped to the very top of my list because now the train at Magic Kingdom is back.
I know.
And it's been so long since I've ridden it. You know, so things like that, just starting to plan, whether you know when you're going or not, starting to make that list of things. And just when you're feeling a little sad, just pull up your TikTok and watch people walk around the parks, or pull out your list of things you want to do and add to it, or adjust it, or change it, or, you know, any of that little boost that you can get. If you're someone who has a lot of knowledge about Disney, this is where I get my serotonin and like helping other people plan their trips. So, you know, having people that you know are going to go and reach out to them and say, hey, if you need help,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah. Yep. Watching all those people wander around the parks and chatting with friends while you do it, I think helps. I think chatting with Disney friends always helps.
Yes. I think Pocket Fam is a huge cure for the Disney blues.
For sure. Like, because the majority of us are not at Disney. We are all in the same boat.
Yep.
At home, wishing we were,
Yeah.
but appreciating the fact that we can at least be together, and watching somebody else enjoy the parks is what we can do. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yes, Allie, I really do enjoy helping people plan. So if you need help, you know where to find me.
Yeah. Jackie will hook you up.
I will.
With
I
herself. And her knowledge. That sounded really weird, but you know what I meant. No, Jackie is brilliant at trip planning, and she can absolutely help you if you are stuck or don't know or have questions. Reach out. I mean, I can help too, but I'll probably point you to Jackie because I just am really busy. So I'm busy like talking about history and studying history. So if you want to know what happened like
Writing
60
books
years
and
ago,
things,
I will tell you all the things. If you want to know about Disney today, talk to Jackie. If you want to know about Disney a million years ago, talk to me. So
A million years ago. Yes.
Feels like a million.
Yes, I am always happy to help. I am not a travel agent, so I can't book things for you, but I am happy to help with itineraries and Genie Plus and all of the above. So y'all know where to find me.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of comments that I plan all my friends' trips for free. Yeah, I feel like we all do that. And then Cassie says she created a guide to help a girl work plan her trip because she thought Magic Kingdom was a resort.
It's hard. It's hard.
Well, if you're not used to Disney World,
Yeah.
if you're only used to Disneyland or not used to Disney at all, it is a lot of information. And it can
Absolutely.
be really overwhelming. And like my best advice is always like find a buddy who knows a lot about it and then do a lot of reading. And that's, you know, and not everybody wants to do that on their vacation.
Right.
So that's when people come in to help plan.
Right. I always tell people that I help plan for. It's like, okay, how much do you want? Do you want like the basic version? Do you want somewhere in the middle? Or do you want me to like knowledge dump everything? Because I need to know so I don't overwhelm you.
I just started sending them to various blogs that I like because I was like, I love you, but I don't have time. So here's the guides. Here's the links to things that you can read and understand all the things.
Yeah. Well, I do have time. So if you're looking for
Jackie
someone.
has time. Yes. Yeah. Overload with magic bands and your phone and Genie Plus. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yep.
And Disneyland has its own quirks too, but it's not nearly as involved, partially because there's just less parks, partially because it's just smaller. So it feels, somebody told me that they went to Disneyland for the first time. They're like, this is so much easier. I was like, yes, it's relaxed. The pace is relaxed. It's like Disney World is a marathon. Disneyland is like where you go to stroll.
A casual stroll.
A casual stroll. So
Yeah,
you made your neighbors in a binder. Yeah, see, everybody's saying they plan their trips for people. Because we help. That's what we do. We help people. When we can't get to the magic, we plan and help other people go.
Yes, we do. That is my life. That is my life. And I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Chrissy says I work with one other person and I can spend hours talking about Disney. I'm thankful she's patient.
Well, that's good.
Yep. Yeah, finding someone that is a great tip. Finding someone that you can chat about with all your Disney things, whether it be your spouse or your partner or a coworker or a friend or pocket fam,
Yeah.
someone who will listen to you talk all about Disney is always helpful. Thank you,
Yeah, and
Cynthia.
I feel like that's talking about self-care things. There's all kinds of people out there that don't like Disney adults and will say very mean things about Disney adults. But just have to remember that everybody's got something that they love, and just because somebody else doesn't love it doesn't mean that you can't love it. So like don't listen to them, because I think that there's a reason why we love Disney, and it's not just because we like cartoon characters or something like that. Like the reasons they
Yeah.
come up with are just silly. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, there are so many reasons why Disney feels like a necessity to us, even though we know it's not. We know it's not, but it feels like it is because of the magic that it's brought to our lives and the hope and the joy. And we need that, especially in the world we live in right now. We need extra doses of that. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't have your thing or you shouldn't have your thing, because
Absolutely.
they're very sad people who don't have Disney. Just pity them.
I mean, it's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the magic, Chrissy. Exactly. It is the magic for sure.
I wrote a whole book about it.
You did.
I did.
Tell us about the book, Kate, since that was our last topic of conversation for
Yeah.
self-care. Tell us about the book, Kate.
Oh my goodness. So most of you already know. I'm going to see if I can mirror my. So I did write a book that came out this past week-ish, that's called A Glimpse of the Magic, Finding Yourself in the Disney Story.
Oh, wait, we're still backwards. I think you unmirrored.
I flipped it. I unmirrored it.
Yeah.
Wah, wah. I feel like they changed it.
It's in a different
it's
place.
on.
It's harder to find.
Is this it?
There, yeah, you're good. Now we see it.
It's still opposite for me. That's so weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they changed that.
Whoa.
So this is my book. Most of you already have it. So thank you for all of you who've already purchased it. And some of you have read it all the way through, which I think is like you get a gold history star for that. That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for all of you who are commenting about it.
Chrissy
it's really,
says she's ordering it tomorrow.
thank you guys. It's so the book is really about it's just a collection of writings, some poems about how Disney affects our lives and how we experience Disney, how some things that just specific snapshots of moments in the parks or in Disney history, and how it connects back to our everyday lives and who we are. So it's not an epic novel. It's a quick read. It's a little short chapters that you can read when you have time, because I feel like we're all a little overwhelmed in this life, and so I wanted to make it very easy to read. But
Shelley is saying, where is the book being sold? Where can we
Yes.
purchase?
there is a link in my bio for it, but it's also on Amazon is probably your easiest place to go. It's both in ebook and digital, but you can also get it at Apple Books, Google Play, and Kobo as well for the digital copy. And Barnes and Noble. Barnes and Noble has both a print and a digital copy. So most of the places you buy books, it's probably there. And thank you everybody for making it, like, I think it's number 3 on the new releases right now. So
It's so exciting.
yeah, it's crazy and amazing.
Yeah.
So
Allie says, Kate's book made me plan another trip because I miss the magic so much.
well, I feel like Disney should pay me something for that. But
You
I'm
should
so
make
glad you
some
enjoyed it.
commission on that trip.
Gosh, if only. Like, I don't think Disney has any idea who I am, but it was
Someday.
someday maybe. But yeah, so thank you for everyone who's already purchased it and is reading it, and leaving reviews on Amazon is a huge, huge support. So thank you for that, Jackie. I know you left one, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wrote a book in case you missed Disney. The Disney blues hit hard. You can
Read Kate's book.
You can read A Glimpse of the Magic.
Chrissy says, is it better for you if they order through your link?
It doesn't matter that much. You can just either through the link, or you can do it on Amazon. I think if you order it through my Amazon storefront, I might get a tiny bit of extra, but not tremendous amount that it makes a difference. Whatever's easiest for you, honestly, is fine. And if you do want a signed copy because they are print on demand, so they get printed at Amazon and then shipped directly to you, which is why some of you got them tremendously fast. What you can, I can, on my website, there's something called a book plate, which is just a little sticker that I will sign and personalize for you and then stick it in the mail. And then you can stick it on the inside of your book. So your book will be personalized that way, since a lot of you probably won't see me in person. I'll happy to sign it in person if you ever see me, but odds are you won't have your book with you because you'll probably be on vacation, and that's as it should be. So
I mean, I feel like I would bring that book on vacation to Disney with me, but
It's nice
that's
and
just
small.
the
You can
type
read
of
it on the
person
plane.
that I am.
Well, I know Kirk was like, I'm going to bring it. You're going to sign it. I was like, you're going to carry it around all day so I can
you know
sign
he
it?
will.
He
You
will.
know he will.
Put it in that backpack with the Cheshire Cat
know.
backpack.
He always carries books in there.
I know. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Allie says, taking notes, always carry Kate's book with me.
just a little hit of the magic whenever you need it, you know. Just a little-
Exactly. It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
the perfect thing for that.
But anyway, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Kristen said I can fit it in my van.
If there's room with the, the popcorn popper and the beanbag chairs. The bacon cooking microwave machine. I don't know.
I'm just
you get
waiting to see how far we take this, like 3 years from now, because we're still going to be doing Mom Street 3 years from now.
For
and
sure.
This is still going to be a running joke, I have a feeling, and I'm just waiting to see. Document this now. We'll see where this goes in the
Yes.
future.
Oh, Robbie just
Listen,
got 2 copies. Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate that.
I'm sorry that I drive. I don't know what to say in response
It's
to
just
that.
so funny. I mean, when I did my car trip with my kids, I took a lot of extra stuff too, so I understand it. But I don't know what that life's like, because the majority of the time I'm packing a suitcase to Disney and I have to weigh everything to make sure.
Well, and the thing is, like, despite that, we really truly only take the things that we use. Like, it's not like we're taking all this extra stuff that just like sits in our van. The only thing that's like a little bit extra is just my kids take some extra blankets and stuffed animals, but that's because they sleep in the van on the way down.
Yeah.
So like, it's all stuff that we use. Kristen says I have a Mary Poppins van and it's awesome.
It's so true.
I mean, I'm not mad about that. Now I feel like I need to like create some sticker for the back of my van, something
You
about
do.
Mary Poppins.
Yes. That would be so fun. So when you miss Lightning Lane and you have a 3-hour wait for Guardians reading time. Yes. Yeah. See? 3-hour wait.
Perfect.
You could for sure read it. Probably the whole book in 3 hours. So, or less.
Yeah.
It's not that long of a book. So
Right.
I made it reasonably priced. But Kirk can fit it in a fanny pack. He probably could. He could put it with his Crocs. I sent Kirk this, like, I found these lights that can go on the front of your Crocs, like flashlights that
That's
stick on your Crocs.
amazing.
And I was like, he needs these for like Fantasyland at night
Yeah.
by Gaston's.
So dark back there.
So dark.
That's amazing. I love it so much.
There's probably an extra child in your in her Suburban you forgot about. Yeah, yeah. There's so much stuff. I carry lots of stuff in my van. I get it.
Yeah. There's lots of room for things. It's fine. It is dangerous though, because then there's also lots of room for merch and things that we have purchased. So that is a very big downside to driving because we don't have the excuse of not wanting to pay to ship it home or not having room in our suitcase.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Well, I feel like it's part of your self-care, Jackie, for your trip is to like mentally be able to carry all the stuff with you that you want, and then you don't have to worry about not having
It
it.
is, because I
So-
hate packing, and it makes me feel so much better. One, knowing that I have a car when
Yeah.
I'm down there. And 2, knowing that, yes, I have this extensive list of things that I can take with me in my van and that I don't have to worry about.
There you go. See, it's all about self-care. That's good.
Being kind to myself. That's why we drive. It's all my fault.
Oh gosh, that's so good. Well, I think that about sums it up. I think we found lots of things that are self-care that we didn't know were self-care.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Goodness.
It's
But-
good. Yes,
Yeah. Did you have
absolutely.
any final thoughts here, Jackie?
I do have one of these sitting around in case you forgot. Oh, see, now I'm going to have to find my mirror. Oh, no. Oh, no.
But then you don't even know if it mirrors because it didn't look flipped to me. It's
Okay,
such a weird thing.
so what does this look to you? Is that right?
No.
Okay. Oh, it's a little toggle thing
Oh,
now.
that looks right.
Oh, but on my end it doesn't. Oh, that's so weird.
But maybe it'll make you not feel like weird like you did before, like you were always
Yeah,
going in the
because
opposite
it didn't
direction.
change anything on my side. Oh, that's so trippy.
Yeah, TikTok's playing games with us.
It is.
2023.
Well, we have merch in case you forgot or in case you're new here. We have stickers. Kate is rocking one of our lovely Mom Street USA logo shirts. So if you are interested in any of those, you can find those on Kate's website. The link is in my bio, her bio. Also, the link to all of our Mom Street accounts. Please be sure that you're following them. We have been really, really happy with all the growth that we've been making, but we're still working on that 1,000 follower mark on our Mom Street account. So that way we will be able to go live directly from that account. So if you are not following it and can pop over there, the link is in our bios for you to be able to find that. You can find us on TikTok.
Sorry,
You can.
I'm still not.
My watch is talking to me. Okay,
Sorry.
You can find us. Apparently not following us. Sorry. So you can find us on TikTok. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram. If you could give us a follow or a subscription on YouTube, that would be greatly appreciated so we can continue to make all of our lovely content and have our show and reach more people and help more people because that's what we're here for.
And we also have our podcast available pretty much anywhere where you listen to podcasts. So if you miss an episode, and so do we want to share what's coming up next, Jacque?
Yeah.
Before we go,
do it. Let's do it. Let me
pull up the
find-
list. I know we're like, what is coming next?
What are we doing? There we go. Okay, so looking ahead, make sure I can read this so it's not tiny. Okay, so next week on Mom Street, we are kind of taking a step back from everything that we've been talking about and doing kind of a refresher overview of what do I do? How do I plan for Disney? So just kind of giving some more overall big picture thoughts about what needs to be done. So I know some people in my chat were talking about, I need a list for all the lists I need to make. Yeah. Next week is for you. So if you missed some of our earlier episodes or you want a refresher or you've got a trip coming up and you're starting to plan, that's what next week is for, kind of just more of an overview. And then the week after that, Kate is in Disney. And we are going to do the first ever on-site Mom Street episode where Kate is going to be in the parks during Mom Street. So that we can chat a little bit about Festival of the Arts. So that's going to be super fun.
So we're going to talk Epcot Festival of the Arts. We're going to talk about doing that with kids. So from the parent perspective, because we get a lot of people that can just wander around and drink and eat around the world. But what do you do if you have kids with you, but you still want to do those things? What are some options for the kids? So that's what we're going to do. And you'll get to watch me live walk around the parks or at least park and do that at Epcot. And
that episode will be a little bit of a different time. So stay tuned for that. Next week will be normal time as always. So, and then fitting after we visit Epcot, we're going to jump into some food info for you guys, some snack lists of best snacks in parks and eventually get through quick service and table service and all that, along with a bunch of other stuff. So we've got a ton of really fun things coming up.
Yeah, it's the food it'll be a while, but we have a lot of other things too that are kind of tucked in the food episode, so it won't just be food for like 3 months because it could easily be that.
Yes. So we were planning it out, going, oh, that's a lot of food. We should put something in between there. That's a lot of food.
But we know that you guys really seem to like the resort ones, because then you could kind of pick and plan the resort you wanted to stay at. So like, let's talk about food too, because I feel like picking dining and figure out where you're going to eat and what you're going to eat is always a big topic in planning your trips. So that's where we're going to go.
Absolutely. And if you are someone who's like, I've got a trip coming up and I need help with this, or I want more information about this, send us a message. We will be happy to include that content in our show, because chances are good that if you are looking for that information, there's probably other people out there looking for that information. So we are happy to help. So if there's something that you've got questions about or you're looking for info on, send us a message and we'll either answer you if it's, something that we can answer on the spot, or we'll gladly stick it in an episode to make sure that we can give you guys that info.
Yeah, and if there's something you want to know about or want me to see while I'm in Disney World and post about on Mom Street, let me know, because I have a whole week there. So, I can do that. So
yeah, absolutely, very good. So yeah, lots of fun things coming up. We're excited about the future of Mom Street. Looking forward to more chats with all of you, and helping more people plan, and
maybe some more crafting at some point too, because, we'll see. And maybe cooking, who knows? And there's all these snack things. We might have to do some cooking, because
because you have to.
we have to.
And speaking of more things to come, we're hoping to do some more giveaways. Those of you who had been following us previously heard us talk about the Christmas decoration contest that we were doing. We have decided to postpone that. Or kind of, we'll see what comes of it. But just with the holidays, things were too crazy. So we had a few entries, and I contacted all of those today to kind of give them a heads up. But we will be looking to do some more giveaways in the future. So definitely want to make sure you're sticking around and following us for that. Because I feel like we do more giveaways than like anyone else that I know.
Yeah, we do lots. And I love that. We definitely will do more in 2023. We're just, I know that I'm planning to go on this trip, and we're just trying to settle into our new year, and then we'll do all the giveaway fun. So it's coming.
Because the whole purpose of us is to give back to you guys. So we're here to help and to inform and to hang out and be friends and laugh and enjoy and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, several people in here talking about my son just got the official cookbook. We can do copycat Disney recipes. I think that's possibly in the works. We'll have to see where the content takes us, where all of our research on these snacks takes us.
We find something, we're like, we could make that at home.
Yeah.
There's some things I'm like, I'm not going to try to make that at home.
I'm pretty adventurous, but I still have my limits when it comes to that kind of stuff, for sure.
Mostly because I just don't have time. I'm like, how am I going to find time to do that? So, no, it was fun though, cooking the other night. So appreciate that. Oh, thanks, Shelly, for ordering the book. Appreciate that. And I see Robbie too. Thanks for ordering the book signature. I'll get that out to you. So thank you, everybody. Thanks everybody for your support of the book, but also of Mom Street. We really appreciate you guys. We tell you this all the time, but we really do. This is like one big Mom Street family, and we really love hanging out with you guys every week, and we're enjoying getting to interact with you a little bit more and chatting about things. Of course, you can always contact us via the Discord, which is in our both our link in bios. You can see the Pocket Fam Discord. We have a channel on there for Mom Street. That is an easy place to contact us anytime, or just chat about things if you have questions, or just, want to chat. So,
absolutely. Well, thank you guys for a fun time on Mom Street, and we will see you next week for overview of how to plan for Disney. It's a loaded topic, but we're going to tackle it.
Yeah. It's going to be great. We're going to be from like 10,000 foot level of like, here's how your list of plan, not all the tiny nitty gritty details, more of the overview of how do you tackle, how do I get to Disney? So
exactly.
Thanks, Kristen, for that. All right. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful evening. I'll be back for Distery tomorrow with Kirk at 5:30 p.m. Pacific or 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And we have a fun topic about kind of like why did Disneyland come to be, and why theme parks. So it's going to be more of an intellectual conversation and maybe some more psychological conversations. So
I'm so ready for that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I have some great quotes I'm really excited to share. So it'll be great. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. But otherwise, have a wonderful evening.
Have a great night.
We'll see you later.
Bye everyone.